In this video, we'll learn how it is possible for us to create a virtual machine in Azure and host a simple website which we can access using our web browser. In order to do that, we are going to divide the task into three simple steps. The first step being for us to create the virtual machine itself, and then we'll go ahead and install a web server, that is the Nginx, and open the port 80, which will allow us to let the traffic from the internet reaches our web server. And finally, we'll create a simple website and copy this website into our web server. So let's get started.
All right, so let's get started with the step one. That is, we'll create a resource group and then we'll create a virtual machine under this resource group. All right, so let's get started. So in order to create a resource group, it's pretty straightforward. We could easily say asset group create. We'll provide a name to the resource group, that is, let's say demo group, and we'll provide a location where this resource group need to be created. In other words, the region where the resource group need to be created. So let's say location is going to be South India. That's it. So it has successfully created the kind of resource group for us. Now let's go ahead and create the virtual machine. So in order to create the virtual machine, the command is almost similar. We could actually say asset. Instead of group, we are going to say VM for virtual machine create. And under which resource group did this need to be created, right? So we just created the resource group called demo group. So let's provide the name of it. Now let's provide a name for this virtual machine, saying that my web server. Now, if you want to create a virtual machine, you need to also specify which image, right, based on which this virtual machine need to be created. Now, a image is nothing but a kind of copy of a operating system or a operating system with some pre-installed softwares, the template of what your operating system is going to look like. So for the time being, we are going to use a very base operating system, that is .204. You could actually use a Windows image of CentOS or Red Hat, whichever is the one that suits your requirement. So I'm going to use a Ubuntu image here. And then let's provide a location where this VM need to be created. Again, I'm going to provide it across as South India. And we'll provide a kind of temporary username and password at this point of time. Sorry, admin username and password at this point of time. So let's say ABCD 12345 12345 is a temporary password. So sorry, temporary user first. So let's say something like root user, and let's provide a kind of temporary password. This admin password is going to be flag. So this should actually create the virtual machine for us. Let's give it a second. Yeah, so it's already kind of creating the virtual machine. And let's wait for the virtual machine to be created. As you can see here, the resource group is already created. And yeah, even my web server is created here. The virtual machine is already created. And if you go here, he has already configured the virtual machine with a public IP address. I guess it is still getting created, so let's give it a bit of time. All right, so there it is. We have our kind of web server created, and it is provided with a public IP address. So that's the step number one. In the next step, let's go ahead and install a operating system. Sorry. Next step, we are going to install a web server like Nginx, and then we'll configure the web server to accept connections from port 80 from the internet. And finally, we'll host our website as well. All right? That's it. All right. Now that we have actually created the kind of virtual machine, let's go ahead and kind of install our Nginx server. Now, I could actually log into the virtual machine using the SSH and use the username and password in order to log in, and then execute these particular commands. That is absolutely fine. But you can also do the same thing using your Azure CLI. So I want to do that rather. So let's say Azure VM. It's a run command and invoke. And we need to provide a resource group where this virtual machine exists. So let's say group is going to be demo group, and the name of the virtual machine where this command need to be executed, that is my web server. And let's provide the command ID. Command ID is going to be yours. Run shell script. And then let's say the scripts that need to be executed. So let's say it is going to be 0 apt get update, and then 0 apt get install by Nginx. So now this should actually kind of install the Nginx web server in my newly created virtual machine. So let's give it a second. All right, so there it is. I hope he has actually installed the Nginx as we expected. Looks like there are no errors. Now, the next step would be to open the port 80, right? So that the outside HTTP traffic can reach this particular web server. So let's go ahead and open this particular port. So let's say Azure VM opens port, and let's provide the port number. So it's going to be, port is going to be 80. So that's a port number in which Nginx is going to listen for your kind of HTTP traffics. And the resource group name is going to be demo group, and the name of the virtual machine is going to be my web server. So this hopefully should open port 80 to our web server. So seems it has already kind of opened the port 80 for us. So let's see if it is going to work or not. So in order to do that, all we have to basically do is just copy the IP address of our virtual machine. So here we have it. And then let's try to put it across in our web page. And there we have it. We are able to already see the default website served by the Nginx web server, right? So that's it. So we have successfully created the virtual machine, installed the web server software, that's the Nginx, and we also have opened the port 80 so that the traffic from our browser or from the internet can now successfully reach the port 80 of the web server. So all now that is left is to create a website, and then we copy those files to this particular web server so that instead of the default Nginx web page, we'll be able to see the web page that we created. All right, let's do that. So as a last step, all we have to do is we just have to replace this default HTML file with an HTML file of our own. So for the time being, I've just created a simple HTML file with a custom content. Now this could have been your kind of complete website with your HTML, your CSS, your JavaScript, etc., and it will work exactly the way we are going to do right now with a single HTML file. Now, before we could actually copy this particular file to the web server, we should be able to provide read and write permission to a specific folder in which Nginx is looking for to serve this particular website. So in order to do that, let's provide the kind of permissions first. Let's say Azure VM. Run command, invoke. Let's provide the resource group name, that is the demo group, and the name of the virtual machine, that is my web server. And let's provide the command ID. That's going to be run shell scripts, and the scripts is going to be sudo chmod a plus. Let's provide the kind of read and write permission to all the users for the time being to a particular folder, that is var www/html. So this is the folder from which Nginx is currently serving the website or the web page that we are seeing right now here. So let's say type enter, and this should be able to kind of provide the item. All right, so I made a mistake here. All right, so this is going to be kind of not script, it's going to be script by mistake, and he's executing the command for us. So let's give it a second. All right, so he has given permission to that particular folder. So now all what we have to do is we just have to copy this HTML file, which we have it across in our system, to the server. So in order to do that, let's first copy the folder path here. Now this is going to be the same in case of Windows as well, or Linux. You have to provide the kind of path of the file which is in your local system. So in order to copy this file, I'm going to use a command called acp and provide the kind of local path. So this is my path, and the file I applied to copy is my index.html, and the place where I need to copy would be root user @ and let's provide the IP address. So let's see 20.41.216.97, and I need this particular file to be copied to var www/html/index.html, and it should ask me for the password. So you should be providing the password that we provided while we created the virtual machine. Let me do that. Alright, so as you can see here, he has actually copied this index.html file to our server. So if everything has gone fine, if if I refresh this particular page, I'll be able to see my web page instead of the default web page. As you can see here, this is my public IP address, and in the public IP address, I was able to successfully host my own website. Thank you for watching, and please do subscribe to my channel. Thank you.